Michael Muchiri is our guest tonight. Senior, you know, I'm looking at the numbers and most of the concerns of security. You look at the numbers, of course, 2024, 2023, vis-a-vis what we have in 2025. They are all taking an upward trajectory, and that would mean an alarming trajectory as opposed to, you know, upward and in a positive way. And therefore, what exactly would you mean when you say that, of course, as a country, we have improved? But before you even get to respond to that, we are back on this Haiti mission. What could be Kenya's interest amidst adjustments on funding, amidst reports that perhaps the mission is proving to be a failure, amidst concern of security as to the police officers that we have deployed in Haiti?
Let me say this. As a country, this is not the first time Kenya has been involved in operations outside of the country to stabilize you know, those countries that have had all kinds of disruptions, bloodshed and all that. At the moment, remember, we have troops that are in DRC Congo. We have officers in Somalia. We have officers in Sudan, South Sudan specifically. So this is not the first time. What I would even be saying is that we should take pride in the fact that as a country, and we are renowned even by the United Nations, we are one of the countries that contribute a lot in terms of you know, trying to stabilize countries internationally. So instead of us, you know, hitting ourselves so much, we should actually be trying to propel ourselves even further. Because we, as a country, we take a central role in trying to stabilize a number of countries, like we've had in Somalia, just across here, in Sudan, in DRC, and all that.
At the expense of what? Because then, of course...
Look, you see, when you look at the Kenyan security situation, a lot of people don't realize that this country is actually doing quite well. When you look at sometimes the kind of reports that we get each and every single day, anyone coming from outside this country would imagine that this is a country that is aflame, that we are burning. The correct position is that Kenya takes a central role in terms of not just stabilizing our neighbors and you know, other countries. But this is one country that can only, and has only been trying to progressively grow in its security operations and its infrastructure. So we should not really be kicking ourselves so much. And again, among us, the nations of the world, we take our pride in praise when you get involved as a member of the global nations.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Let's bring it back home, Kidogo, I mean from Haiti. And talk about the abducted chiefs in Mandera, 5 of them, that were assessing security conditions ahead of the president's visit or planned visit. They remain missing, as far as I'm concerned, or perhaps you can give us a different report as to that. And of course, reports indicating that they were taken across border, that is into Somalia. And I mean, any news to their loved ones, or perhaps would you counter this statement that I'm reading?
Yeah, we cannot deny that incident took place a while back. It's almost nearly 1.5 months ago. It is true, but because of the delicate nature of that abduction, I think this is an area that I would not want to tread so deeply into. But the truth of the matter is, again, the government, remember, these are people that have been taken across. They are in and neighboring countries, you know, place. So there are negotiations about that. These things can happen. So it's still a very dicey, it's a very delicate situation. So I would not really want to comment so much about that. But as far as we know, the chiefs are safe, and there's been some negotiations, there's been some talks about how soon they can come back into the country.
All right. Okay. Kenyans are curious to understand why government has eased the vetting process as to ID approvals, as well as, you know, approvals of immigrants, you know, coming into the country. What occasioned the introduction of vetting in the first place? And do you suppose that you know, some of these concerns that occasion that have been addressed and considered, perhaps put to rest before then we say we can ease the vetting processes?
I think the statement that was issued by no other than the Commander-in-Chief is sufficient enough. And for His Excellency to come out with that statement, I think there must have been, that the whole process must have been scrutinized, the whole processes must have been looked at, and the statement was issued at a very high level. So this is, again, not an area that I would want to really go into.
Does it not bring on board security concerns? Are you not worried that perhaps this would pave way to security concerns that, again, would finally boil down to your dockets?
Not quite. Remember, Linda, and this is very clear, for a government to come up with a statement like it did, there must have been a lot of, this is something that is deeply involving. There must have been a lot of consultation and a position to be agreed upon. And then that statement came through no other than the Commander-in-Chief. So we believe in that statement. And for it to be arrived at that point, it is okay. And there must be some safeguards to try and, clear out on the issues that you are raising.
Fair enough. The Standard writes today, and they say that there are allegations that, members of the Mungiki sect, or perhaps members under the leadership of Mine Njenga, are committed and are being, are holding meetings across, of course, to make sure that they make it easy for the president to tour the mountain in terms of addressing those ones that would want to chant the Ruto must go kind of chants, or perhaps would raise any concerns of volatility towards the president's visit. Of course, this remains an allegation, but perhaps if this is true, do we really require to have the Mungiki sect come on board to assist in the question of insecurity while the president tours the mountain? Does it speak of a security apparatus that is not capable?
Linda, that statement is quite, I would say...
Or have you heard of such...
Speculative.
Yes.
It's neither here nor there. Remember, the Kenyan government has security apparatus that are strong enough, that are, bold enough, and the commitment is about the rule of law. So to have some militia-like organization being part of, the president's tour, that is ridiculous. We have enough security forces. We have our own operators that are able to take care and take charge of this country without having to involve some shadowy militia group. Remember, the group that you've just alleged, that you just mentioned about, remains an illegal grouping. And at any point, these are people that we've taken to court numerous times. So there cannot be a situation where the illegal group can also be on the same side with the government security operators.
All right. Yes. Of course, quickly, you talked about leveraging on technology as the police service. I mean, we have talked about having police processes that are going to be beefed up by technology, in the sense that we're going to have introduction of body cameras, mobile traffic cameras. I mean, what is the intent of actualizing this so far?
We cannot, as a country, continue to remain behind. We have to leverage, like you said, on technology. We have to move on, like, remember, we're in a global village. What the developed countries are doing, we cannot afford to remain behind. And then again, when you have the cameras, when you have issues to do with instant fines, the Inspector General has talked about it on numerous occasions. What you're trying to say is to tell Kenyans that we've reached a point where we can also be counted on issues of transparency and accountability. We're moving forward, we're transforming, and we want to be on the side of Kenyans where we can be able to say, sincerely, let's serve the people of Kenya with openness, transparency, and accountability. So this is part of the process that has already been kicked up by the Inspector General through our strategic plan 2023-2027. And there's so much that is contained in here. We are only starting, and at the end of the day, we want to have a transformation. A transformation of, we've moved from a force to a service where Kenyans can basically say that they have the trust and the confidence to be taken care of by the National Police Service.
All right, in your parting shots as you speak to the Kenyans, perhaps in a minute or so,
Right.
do you suppose that the police is safe and confident with the masses, with the politician? Because then we've had police complaining that perhaps they do not feel safe with the masses anymore because they are targeted, that they do not feel safe with fellow, police operators or perhaps other entities within and cadres within the security apparatus,
Right.
as well as the politician. I know the president has spoken about that, and he says he does not interfere in the work of the police whatsoever.
Absolutely, and let me speak about the intentions and the clear statement that the Inspector General has issued.
Okay.
That for us as police officers, remember we had the issues of abductions the other day, and the IG was very categorical and said that the police do not abduct, for instance.
Okay.
I know this is a conversation that we could have some other moment, but the point is, we must have as professional grouping of National Police Service as possible.
All right.
That's the only way that the people of Kenya can have not just the confidence, but the trust to engage more, and that way we can grow our country. And remember, we cannot have a country that grows when the security infrastructure is wanting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Police spokesperson Michael Muchiri, thank you so much for speaking to TV47. We had lots prepared for you to respond to this evening, but then again, time is not on our side, but we'll always have these conversations more and more. Asante sana. Now to more.